Hello and welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy. I am Sean,
And I'm Tracy.
and we are talking to you all that are 50 and fabulous.
And don't forget handsome.
And we want you to know that we want to get some education happening,
Yes.
some empowerment.
We want to grow with you. We want to learn with you. We want to see what you're doing, 50 and over.
So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe,
Grab your
and
tea.
grab your tea. Hello, hey. Oh, I can't wait for this conversation. This conversation is going to be awesome. It's going to be informative. It should help some people. We don't know who's listening and who out there is going to benefit from this awesome guest that we have today. Miss Anna, how are you?
Welcome, welcome.
Thank
So-
you. I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, listen, no.
Listen, don't feel like you're talking over us.
Ab-
Just talk.
Just
Okay.
talk.
Just
That's
talk.
it. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this conversation. We've been wanting to have you on forever, and we finally
Now it's
you're
here.
finally here.
Yes.
And what I want to do is look at your shirt. Her shirt says "Building Faith, Restoring Hope, and Receiving Healing," and that's what this podcast and this interview is going to be about. You know, their church is having a gathering today, so she has the shirt on. But the funny part about it is her story is building faith, restoring hope, and receiving healing. Isn't that
Yes.
isn't that
Yes.
awesome? Isn't that awesome? You see how the divine works? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I met Anna. It's been a couple of years now, and what's real crazy is I didn't know that my sister is your sister, right?
Dearly.
Nice.
Her and my sister used to work together, and I remember her talking about you and things like that. And then when we realized it was the same person, it was crazy, you know. But our spirits just connected immediately. Immediately. I just love it. I just love it. And so this conversation is going to be all about her life journey, and the things that she has overcome. And hopefully any of you out there that are listening and watching, you know, can take her strength, you know what I mean? And it's all by faith.
Amen.
It's all by faith. So Anna, thank you again for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am born in Dominican Republic and came to America when I was 4 years old. I lived in Washington Heights in Manhattan, and and also at sometimes the Bronx, in those areas. I come from very poor but very loving people, and in the process of my paternal grandmother was raising me since I was 6 months old. So when I came here, I came with her. Her struggle was really difficult at her age with minor children in a new country, and having survived the revolution of the 60s in DR. And I say all that to say that the road was paved already for a lot of pain, struggles, challenges, and trauma. But my story is a celebration story. It's a story about how strong we are and how maybe most of our entire life we have no idea where that strength is coming from or that we are strong. And all the things that are put into place to make us believe that we're not
Right.
as powerful
As we
and spiritual as we really are. And is about how, regardless how I'm the story of everything that leads you away from spirituality. And my story brought me closer and closer and closer to my Father, my Lord, my Savior, my ancestors. My story has picked me to say, we love you regardless,
yes.
and you're enough regardless, and you're not stained. And so for me, I like to start with the fact that is a redemption and celebratory story, and it will continue to be. And my mission in life is to get the word out, help as many women as possible, and hopefully make a space where people find themselves through their own, through sharing stories and community.
Awesome, awesome. So you say that, right? And people that are looking might say, "What is she talking about?" Right? Um, so let's dive. Let's dive because I know you're like, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Righty. So we're gonna dive into what she's talking about: um, domestic violence, sexual trafficking, sex trafficking, um, abuse, all of that this woman has been through from an early age, and here she is. Here she is. Like she said, this is celebratory. This is victory. Victory. That's what comes to me right now is victory, right? And for you to say, what stuck with me just a second ago is when you said you're not stained, even though your
Amen.
life was set up to be the journey that you went through, and you're not stained, right?
Amen.
Don't have me here crying. So let's do
Yeah,
it.
take us back a
Let's do
little
it.
bit, or
Yeah.
where you feel comfortable taking us back to. So, like Sean said earlier, so that others that may have been affected or have walked this same journey some way, um, take us back.
So today, what's sitting on my heart, because I will probably have more conversations, right? Whatever time allows. And today, I want to speak to teen women. I want to speak to like 19-year-old Anna who fell in love with with a man like that, you know, looked like was the most empathetic and honest and beautiful person I ever met. And our relationship started over the phone. So in a span of like 90 days, we met in person, but he lived in New Jersey, I lived in Manhattan, so we would just talk over the phone. I was able to open up to this person and talk about all the things that happened to me. And for the first time, I was listening to someone that I thought at the time was listening to me, and had all the right words about, how at 8 years old, I was raped by a family member. And since then, when I didn't speak on it when it immediately happened, but when I did, I was labeled a liar, and the person was still around, so that continued until this day. That person will most likely pass without admitting and leaving me marked as a liar, and I wear that proudly because that's fine with me. But that has been the message for so many years. So all of that happened, and I left with this person and pretty much never returned home. But the story that no one knows details of, not too many people know details of, is that the first night that we actually went on a date and I never came back, I was taken to South Jersey, not knowing what was happening. Um, and when we were getting off the exit is when I was told what this person does for a living and what was about to happen. And my reaction at the time was none. And it wasn't hitting me that, excuse me, my reaction to assault, even though it is not physical assault yet, is not normal. I've now, and this is grown Anna that can say that, but I realize now I've normalized abuse and assault and bad behavior so much. I'm in it right now, and I don't have a reaction. So we get to the house. There are women there, and there is another male figure, and that was it. my all of my IDs were burned in the fireplace, and a 4-year struggle started for my safety and my life and my soul. And 2 weeks later, I was out in the street being brought from South Jersey to New York City, and I was trafficked for 4 years. And the entire time, my family was threatened. The safety of my little brothers and sisters who were my cousins, but you know how that works in our communities. My brothers and sisters that meant the world to me, they were threatened. Their safety was threatened. My grandmother's was threatened. But the problem was that, wow, I was a perfect victim. I believed all that stuff. I believed it. And because I was taught to be quiet when I was hit or marked, or I was taught not to tell the truth when I was harmed. So I was the perfect victim, and this person knew it because he had 3 months of ammunition to use against me. And that is why I want to talk to teens, because I feel that I carry a lot of guilt, feeling that in the past years that I haven't talked about this, things have not gotten better for the safety of women and for the violence against women. And actually, it's gotten more sadistic, I feel, and easier to capture a woman than even it was when it happened to me. And we've come so far that we consider trafficking, we consider what's happening in America when it comes to that type of thing as trafficking now. But I've been in spaces where I've had to fight. People have laughed in my face. Like, that's trafficking doesn't happen in America. Wow. Because people didn't understand. People really believe that, like, women that stand in corners, that's what they want to do. Like, I really woke up looking forward to becoming that one day. And police officers believe it too. So you have no worth when you're standing outside. And I'm talking about days where it was vivid and visual. Pimps were not hiding. Right. They're having like a little carnival in the corner, and the police is coming to pick you up, as insignificant as you are, while they stay there and have their carnival. I mean, the hypocrisy of the entire system and how it comes into place and how it affects women and their children, and a ripple effect of even coming out of that. Good luck with trying to come out of that and finding yourself and loving yourself and not blaming yourself for the rest of your life. There is so much that happens and so many injustices that take, I would say, our soul if it was possible, right? And then that's why this story is a celebration, because yes, I did. I escaped in 1995. I made a life for myself. It was not easy. It's too much to get into right now. It was a long battle, but that God allowed me to overcome, chose me to overcome, prepared me to see what I wasn't seeing at 19. And then probably at 24, at so many different stages, all the things I wasn't seeing. But the intention was that I was deeply loved, favored, and cared for, protected. Women were disappearing also in the 90s at the time. Right. I knew some of them that never returned, and I've identified jewelry pieces of people that I worked with and things like that. It was just a hard time. But one of the things I also want to say is that I want women to know that please be careful. Test the spirits that come near you. Test them with prayer. Test them with meditation. Ask yourself, what is this? Don't ignore red flags. Right. Ignore that stabbing feeling in your gut and react. Do not be still in the presence of what could be a toxic person with nothing good for you. Believe it, that the person that kissed you and loved you is the person that may try to also kill you and put you at risk. It is important that we understand that predators are around us, and we have to find our voice and fight.
That was going to be my question, but I think you summed it up. What would you say to the young women now, outside of talking to 19-year-old Anna, um, the young ladies that feel like they don't have a voice and they're doing the same thing what you just said? Because we know that it happens. We hear stories, we see the movies, so we know that it does happen, and we believe you. It's unfortunate, like you said, the powers that be don't believe, and or it's the female's fault because she wants to, or she, if she doesn't want to be there, she would leave. We all know that's not true. But what would you also say to those teenagers? And I know you started at the age of 19, because I think it even may start even earlier.
Oh, yeah.
That they start priming these young women. Unfortunately, when they feel as though nobody's listening, nobody's paying attention, because you reference back to being 8 and your situation that happened and nobody believed you, and that person is still around you. That's still happening in somebody's household. Somebody's going to listen to this. They're going to feel this. They're going to say, that's me. How do we help them? Or what do we say to them to get them help?
So, thank you. It's a tough one. So yes, I definitely want to reach out to the people that are in that situation right now, because part of the problem is that at 15 years old, because of this person, I started running. I never stopped running. I met this man when I now had to be, I was at my grandma's house, back at my grandma's house that I ran from since I was 15. And I was trying to get out. I was trying to get out, like a wild woman. She wasn't hurting me anymore. She wasn't calling me names. She wasn't, but I didn't have the capacity to even think of having a relationship with her on another level, because I was grown. Maybe she was seeing me as a young woman. Maybe the stages had changed. I didn't give her the grace to rebuild with me. I was there and I had to go and I had to run. And that's what I did. So I know that any woman that it may be sitting, or young child that's sitting in where I was sitting at the time and listening to this, don't run. Find help. Walk yourself into an emergency room. Ask someone to keep you until someone comes to help you. Believe that people will help you. And don't run, not run away, run. But go where you need to go to get help. Go to a fire station. Go wherever you need to go to get help. And don't stop telling your truth until you get it. That's what I did. I did it after I had children also. The fear crippled me and I never told for years. I've worked alongside people for 10, 15 years who have no idea who I really am. And that was not fake Anna. That was protective Anna, immigrant Anna, still green card holding Anna. That was Anna that could not take the risk of having her real name attached to the more than 300 times that she was arrested for prostitution. That was the Anna that was not being genuine until COVID happened. And I realized that God gave me a voice for a reason, and that I let that fear cripple me and I shut my voice down. And during COVID, I promised that if I ever had a chance to get a new job, at the time I wasn't working, I would never shut my voice down again. And I would not show up in any space as anything other than 100% authentic Anna. And the room's going to stink sometimes because people are going to be uncomfortable, but they have to be uncomfortable for me to help other people. And family members of mine are going to be disappointed, but I've been carrying this disappointed. I'm 52 years old. And the truth has to come out now, because COVID showed me that there's a lot of women I could have been helping when I left in 1995. That was a long time ago, for fear to still hold me captive. And for that experience to sit on my chest and haunt me all this time, it's not going away. I'm not asking it for it to go away at this point, but that's the voice that came loud and clear. Women are in danger. And then we saw during COVID also more domestic violence, more sexual assaults, more. And so all of that, we saw all the injustice, all the racial injustices, how things are just not getting better, and they're not going to get better until we get into spaces where we're having real conversations and thinking about options to help people. So what I would say to anyone, you're probably sitting at your own dinner table with your own attacker. I know I did.
Yeah.
So when I say don't run, I don't mean stay there. I mean, find a safety plan. No one deserves to be assaulted. No one should sit in their trauma and their attack. No one should have their attacker look at them in the eye ever again. If you're in that space, please find help. Call someone. Anybody. Start with like the basics. Info line 911, a hospital, a fire department. But please find safety.
I just want to say I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you sharing your story because it's a stepping stone for yourself. Don't beat yourself up about not coming out sooner. You said you could have, attempted to do something in 1995, but the time is now. You're doing something now. And once this episode airs, how powerful I think it's going to be.
Absolutely.
And that's what we have to remember. We can't beat ourselves up because of our past or woulda, coulda, shoulda. You're doing it now. Be proud and thankful for that because this is powerful. Like I am literally sitting here saying like, wow, you don't know someone's story. And that little phrase, the room is going to stink, as simple as it is, it's powerful. And it is. It is. It's going to stink not with just family members. It's going to stink with friends. It's going to stink with coworkers because you're going to always have somebody that doubts you.
Right.
That doesn't believe you.
And back to also when you said, when you got out in the 90s, you didn't have the tools that you have now to do, to either help somebody. You had to get through the journey of getting yourself to where you are now, where you're like walking in unapologetically being you. Right?
Yes.
And also to a point where it's, I've been there, I've done it, I've got out of it. What do you need?
What do I do?
How can I help you? That's where you are, right? But you couldn't be there back then because you didn't know. You didn't know. So to beat yourself up, no. But you are. But you said at the beginning too, you're giving yourself grace, right? Giving yourself grace because it has not changed, and COVID's only been 4 years. You know what I mean? So, right? We're talking over 30 years ago for you. You know what I mean? So when you think about all these, like what you said, don't run. Think of a plan because you might be at the table with your abuser. And your abuser might be looking straight in your eye while you're listening to this episode, right?
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah, when you're looking at this episode
happen.
or listening to this episode. And one of the things, too, if someone says, I'll kill your family, 9 times out of 10, they won't. Right? I mean,
well, that still cripples you.
I can't say that.
Yeah.
I can't say that. No, let me take that back
scares you
because
all the
I
same.
have never been threatened like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've never been in that situation, so I'm going to take that back, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, you don't know, but like you said, don't run, but get yourself into a safe space. Go to the emergency room, talk to someone, and don't, like, I'm a big advocate of not ignoring your gut. Your gut is spirit. Spirit is telling you when something's not right in the room. You can walk in a room of 1 million people and not feel not feel comfortable in that room. You may not be able to pinpoint one person, but you know the energy in there or the spirit in there is not for you. Get out. Walk away. Just, you know what? I decided I'm not going to be here today. I decided, you know what? I need to leave. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that your gut is never wrong. It's always giving you, if you don't feel good, get out. If it doesn't feel good with your spirit, get out. If a person is talking to you, talking about, hey, honey, and you're like, it doesn't give you butterflies, back up, right?
What would you say,
Back
though,
up.
to parents, caregivers,
Right.
grandparents that are taking care of children and they come to them and they're not believed, not just in your situation. We've heard that.
That's
I
happened.
did
Oh
tell.
my goodness.
I did tell, and nobody believed me, or they
Mm-hmm.
made that person out to be a liar.
Or they
What
say
would you
that
say
little
that
girl's so
to?
fresh. She's so
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah,
That was in our the black community.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
she's so fresh.
Yeah, and I don't use that word because I
Nope.
think the kids today they're a little bit more outspoken, I would say, than you and I
Mm-hmm.
coming up. But
Mm-hmm.
I think they're honest too.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit
Absolutely.
more honest, where we would hold our tongues
Right.
because we were told not to say that.
Exactly.
But what would you say to those parents who are faced with a situation like this from a minor child or a young adult? I don't care if I'm 24, 25. If, I go to my parents and say X, Y, and Z, I want you to believe me. What do you say to the ones who have that doubt? Or like Sean said, oh, they're just fast. Oh, they're just fresh.
The first thing I like to say to mothers is stop minimizing what your children are going through and stop repeating the same names that were told you, like,
When you, yeah.
you're always dramatic and you're always making up
Right.
stuff. And be the advocate for your child, be the hero and the fighter for your child. No child needs to hear anything negative from you. And trust me, in the process of learning and becoming who I am, I repeated some of my own harm that was done to me, to my own children. Because make no mistake, no matter how far you think you've run, your trauma sits inside of you until you're ready to process it and remove it. And even then, you will still have remnants of that in your children. At this point, I think we have enough information on our fingertips, and our children need to be respected, brought up as children the best they can, and told every single day that they're beautiful and they're powerful, that they matter and that they're enough. And you know what? You can do that with no money. I didn't have the capacity to even do that. At many times in my life, for many reasons, in the process of my own brokenness. So that's the first thing that I would say. Just make sure that you're not using harmful language or behaviors that keep your child in a box, unable to tell you what's really happening to them. And react as lovingly as you can when you do find things like inappropriate social media or somebody following your child. And please understand, there are people praying for your children. So when you find those things, thank God you found them. Praise God immediately.
Absolutely.
Get the help you need to get for your child, because God allowed you to bump into that.
Absolutely.
Because God's trying to save your child. So you need to step up and save your child as well.
And the children around you. Not,
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
everyone.
The children around you. I had a conversation recently because I was that kid. I was a tomboy, right? And I was one of the only girls. I think it was four boys born before I was born, and I had an uncle that was touchy feely, right? I just felt uncomfortable around him. He never really did anything per se, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I didn't feel comfortable around him. And so growing up like that, and my mother would always say, don't sit on a man's lap and don't do this and don't do that, whatever. So I did the same thing with my daughter. It's like, listen, I don't care who it is, even if it's your father, and my husband, ex-husband, we raised our kids. So it wasn't like, it was just me or whatever. But my daughter and I just had a conversation recently, and she was talking about how I always said to her, if anybody says this or that, whatever, or touches you or whatever, you make sure you say something. You know what I mean? Because I grew up like that. Fortunately, I wasn't, violated, but still, I had that intuitive, that instinct that, you know, dirty old men saying stuff, because I was a kid that had boobs and a butt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that was one of the things. But one other thing that was a trauma thing for me is because I was a tomboy, I was always playing with the boys, football, this, that, and other. And they were always touching me, and I was always fighting them. So my mother took it as, you're being fresh, you're boy crazy, and things like that. So I say that to say, when your child is doing things that when you were younger, somebody might have, because I don't know how my mom, grew up in that way. But I just remember always having to prove that I wasn't attracting someone's attention or boy's attention because of that, because she thought I was. You know what I mean? Yep.
Talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I do want to take a couple minutes to talk about that because it's a big problem. It's a problem everywhere. In church, it's a problem. It's a problem at home. It's a problem in schools. And that it comes from how comfortable we've become for like blaming women for everything, right? So yes, I grew up in other unsafe spaces. And what I have to say about that now is that I think that my scenario was noticed by other predators. My condition was noticed by other predators. And there was a man that used to walk inside my building, lived in my building, walk inside, and he would expose himself when he saw me coming. And he would do this all the time. I was already in a not safe space to mention that. I didn't have anyone I could mention that to inside my home. And that's what I mean about that. So there was also someone in my church that was being fresh, and this was after I did speak up and was labeled a liar. So that's nothing I'm ever, because I was told you're gonna be a whore, you know, that you know you're just so easy, and this is me as a child. These are things that are happening to me. But without this person knowing now further things have happened past the one that exposed my assault, those things were being said to me even before this person attacked, even before my first assault. Those things were being said to me since early as a child. And I'm going to say it was all in the anger of having to raise me, because I'm tired now, me. I can't imagine 56 years old coming to America, not speaking English, right? So I give my grandmother a lot of grace. She was a strong woman. She did the best she could. I know she never meant to hurt me. And I know she stands by my side now. And I wish I gave her more grace as an adult, but I just didn't have the capacity. And I didn't have it until her son, her firstborn, passed in 2018 first, after many years, over 20 years that no one had passed in our family. And in 60 days, she passed. And I believe my father went to make a way for her because she was hanging on here for us. And so in 60 days, we lost them both. And that's when I felt the love that I was rejecting all these years. I rejected my father's love, and I rejected my grandma's too. And I didn't feel that love until they passed. But I did understand why so many people are called hypocrites after their loved ones died.
Oh, you've seen it.
Because, I love my dad like I loved him when I was 7 years old. I became that little girl again. And my grandma too. But that happened right before COVID. My grandma died in January of 2019 because God saved her from COVID. And my dad too, because he was just recently diagnosed with her same illness, which was Alzheimer's. And it was going to be too violent for him to be in the house, to understand all of that. So again, just how God works and how rest was giving to them at the time showed me how much we need to try to pay attention if you can. But I also understand what it's like to be so broken that for me, it was like, you won't be around my children. You know, and they won't be exposed to the things that I was exposed to, period.
Right. And that is a lot to unpack. That is a lot to unpack. And then, so what do you do when you have your own children? Like you said, you're not going to be exposed to it. You become very protective, and your children know your story. You know.
So
go ahead.
First, I would say you gotta have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I told my kids way too early. Some people some people in my family were telling my story for me. So I told
So
my
what
kids
do you mean you told them too early?
young,
Okay. Okay.
young.
But did you have to intervene because it was being told, and you had
Yes.
to?
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
that
Okay.
Yeah.
wouldn't you have to tell them at that point if family was
Yeah.
telling the wrong story? You needed to get it out there to them. So
I wanted them to know that they were special and they meant everything to me. And I wanted them to know what happened to me. And I wanted them to know,
hear it from you.
right, if there are certain people that you don't see, this is why. Because I wanted them to know they didn't do anything wrong not to be around those people. And that was painful. I caused them a lot of harm because I wasn't ready and I hadn't done the work. I didn't have the right answers. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have time or money or physical ability because the whole illness thing is it's a whole other beast. To give my kids anything more than food, home every night, affection. Yes, I'm very affectionate. And sometimes I look back and I can't remember. I'm like, there was a period of time where I kind of don't remember being so affectionate. When did some of that stop? You know? So a lot of things you beat yourself up about. But if a woman finds herself in my situation, try to have a plan as to how you're going to bring it up to your child. Implement therapy if you can.
I was gonna say, how do you get the tools to do that? I mean, you can have a plan, but if you don't even know how to start to plan, how do you get yourself to a to a point where you learn those tools?
If there are, of course, there's people out there that live what I live. You're probably going to need therapy for the rest of your life because behaviors are behaviors. They're learned and they're in our memories, and sometimes they come back. You can find yourself in another toxic relationship, believe you me.
That's usually what happens.
Or several.
Right? Because that's what you know, and that's what you attract.
Well, what was your plan though? You said you have
didn't
to have a plan.
I didn't have a plan.
No. You have a plan now. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you get here?
Right.
You didn't have a plan in the beginning because we don't know what the plan is.
Right.
I don't know what my plan is for tomorrow. But you're here now. What was that plan? What were a few of those steps, if you could?
That's an excellent question. Thank you. I think I have a plan now, but none of us really have control over anything, how it happens, right? And that's the beauty of having faith.
Oh, absolutely.
Faith is what I have in abundance and what God has given me so much of ever since I was little. I truly love God with my whole heart since a child and connected since a child with that love. And forgotten that love in the past and in several stages, forgotten that love. And the scripture that says, you've forgotten your first love hits home with me because I did. I've forgotten my first love multiple times. And that's what brought me through. Faith is what I have in loads and loads and loads. And God allowed this heart to love and love and love multiple people. Many of them who also hurt me. But the point is, what a beauty to have a heart that can love so easily. I have that. So my plan now is I still guide by faith, but I know now where I'm walking. And it's my mission to be an example for everyone that I love and serve. That includes my community. So I'm just a walking poster child of.
I'm sorry. You're your plan. Faith,
Right.
hope, and healing.
Exactly.
There's your plan.
Exactly.
That's-
There's the
that's-
plan.
That's your plan right there. And it is. That's your plan.
Right?
As you're talking, I'm
Faith,
thinking.
Anyways,
hope,
I know
and
what
healing.
your plan is.
Yes. Yeah,
it's
why did
right
we
there.
ask that
Faith,
question?
hope, and
It's
healing.
right there.
But we have to
guys,
ask it
only
to get
because
it
I'm
out.
wearing this because I'm going somewhere else. It wasn't even planned.
But this is divine,
It still
right?
was a
It
good
wasn't
question, and
planned.
we wasn't thinking. And I'm sitting here as you're talking, and I
That's
see
the
her
question.
plan.
Yes,
That's your plan.
that is.
You got it.
That is the plan. So say it again. We're gonna say it out loud. Building faith, restoring hope, and receiving healing.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. And if you don't know where to start, that's where therapy comes in. That's where church comes in. Find that spiritual person in your life
Yes.
that you trust and love.
Yes.
Find that person because there's always somebody that says, "I've been praying for you." You know what I'm saying? Whether they know you or not.
Right.
There's always, I don't care. I know everybody in this world has come across someone that said that to them. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone in this world.
Just don't give up, whatever
Don't
it
give
is.
up. And that
Don't give
person
up.
that's been praying for you, reach out to them. Reach out to them and say, I need prayer. I do that all the time. I have my prayer sisters, my prayer warriors. Or if, I didn't know where the intercessor was for a while until one day, because I'm always praying for somebody, you know what I mean? And someone said that to me. It's like, so know that somebody's
Well, what
always
is it? You gotta
interceding
because
for your
everybody
life.
doesn't know. So tell them what it is.
Right. So an intercessor, this is my definition of it, right? I'm going to say it that way. An intercessor is somebody that will automatically that prays for someone else regularly, and always praying for other people. They're interceding for them because a lot of times we don't know prayer is an answer for us. We don't know that, or we don't even know how to pray. For a long time, I really didn't know, right? Because you don't know.
Yep.
And you can go to church every day, all day. But we are spiritual beings too, right? We like you said, you knew as a little kid that you always loved God, right? And we call him God, whatever your higher
whatever your
power
higher
is,
power is.
right? Because it's not tangible. You can't touch him, but you can definitely feel him. You can definitely feel him. So interceding is praying for other people. And in that time of need.
And we have that all with
all
our
the
parents, our
time.
grandparents. It's always been going on.
Right.
We just didn't. We don't always know, like you said, but people are out there praying for you.
So that's I would say, building faith, you can start with that person that says to you, I've been praying for you.
Amen.
You could start with that person and then start building your
Hope.
yes.
and then you're going to be
receiving
healing.
that healing.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
think
plan.
we need another session from
Absolutely.
you. We need to,
You got it.
keep going with this. I don't think this conversation ends here. And my hope is once this airs, we get questions. We get people that say, hey, next step for me, or I'm trying to do this. How, is there any suggestions? So we really appreciate you being so open. So vulnerable, so honest. Thank you. So brave.
So brave, right?
So
Right?
brave,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you. We can't say that enough. We really, really cannot say that enough. All of our conversations that we have with people are very, very important. This is very important.
Yeah.
Because we need to get this out there to save our females that are out there, and no matter what age it is, because I'm not
people,
going to say
yeah.
just children, because it's not just children. But we
Amen.
thank
That's
you.
true. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
We thank you. We do from
And
the bottom of our
if you see
hearts.
something, if you see something, say something. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
absolutely.
If you see something, I mean, I know that's a cliche and they've been
Yeah.
using that term, but
There-
it's the truth though. If
Yeah.
you
Well,
see
no,
something-
because you're right. Because sometimes people see something, they don't say something. Sisters
Right.
and brothers and cousins,
and you don't have
they
to
know
say it
something
out
ain't right.
loud to that person or
Yeah.
whatever, that type of thing, but tell somebody to watch out. If you don't want to be seen, tell somebody
Exactly.
to watch out for this person, or take that person out of the situation if you can. Hey, you want to go to lunch, and you can see
As
that,
simple
you know what I
as
mean, or
that.
something like that.
Yes.
Just as simple as that, to take them out of it. I mean, because your instinct is always right. It's always
Absolutely.
right. One of the things I want to do before we close, because I know we got to close. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Am I going to speak after you say we close?
You
Can I
can.
say? I just
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted my last words to be that live life to the fullest as much as you can. Live it hard. Live your life as hard as you can, as hard as it is, but knowing that you're here with a purpose. Kiss your family members and hug your loved ones and your friends. Hug everyone. Give all the hugs you can and
Yes.
all the kisses you can.
Yes.
Live this life to the
Yes.
fullest.
I always say a hug is good for the heart, right?
Yes, you do.
And your family only loves to their capacity, because you don't know no different. But I want us to read Jesus is Calling, because every time we read it, it's always pertinent to what's going on.
It's already marked.
It's
for you.
already marked?
Today
Okay.
is the 8th.
Today is the 8th. Okay. September 8th.
Yes. She's honest. We don't read it before we get here.
We
It's
don't read it
marked
before we
because
get here.
I do read it every day, so it's not marked because it's the 8th. It's marked because I read it every day.
Right.
I've been having days like that for 2 weeks now.
Okay. It says, accept each day exactly as it comes to you. Right? By that, I mean not only the circumstances of your day, but also the condition of your body. Your assignment is to trust me absolutely, resting in my sovereignty and faithfulness. On some days, your circumstances and your physical condition feel out of balance. The demands on you seem far greater than your strength. Days like that present a choice between two alternatives, giving up or relying on me. Even if you wrongly choose your first alternative, I will not reject you. Woo, woo, woo.
That part.
Right. You can turn to me at any point, and I will help you crawl out of your mire of discouragement. I will infuse my strength into you moment by moment, giving you all that you need for this day. Trust me by relying on my empowering presence. That's Psalms 42:5 and 2 Corinthians 13:4 and Jeremiah 31:25. Those are that came from those scriptures. So this was September 8th. Even though this is going to air next month, October is Domestic Violence Month. And that's another reason why we wanted to have this conversation. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you that have been following us and that say something to us in the streets. Because they're like, I've seen you. Tea and Cornbread. And subscribe, and share, and make some comments.
Definitely.
Any topics that you're interested in. We are here to really give you or bring some education to you by way of real folks, real people that are dealing with
real life
situations or that have overcome some things,
living in their truth.
Yes. So, like Miss Anna said, live the best you can.
Yes.
Live to the fullest. Every day, all day.
You'll hear from her more too.
Yes.
We're not done with Anna.
No. All righty. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.